ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another book commentaries. I am your host and commentator, DruoxTheShredder, and this is my team. There's me, as Ymir. There's our Sobek, and our Arachne, and our Freya, and our Shibalanke. On the enemy team, pretty strong composition on the enemy team, not gonna lie. They've got one of the best carries in the game, Wukong. They got a Guan Yu, they got a Neith, they got an Ares, and they have an Ao Kuang. Not fun. Sun Wukong is gonna definitely be a scary member of the match. No doubt about it. So, we're just getting ourselves started. Getting ready to begin our lovely day. I want to focus on talking about Ymir for now. Ymir is a tank designed to CC. I control where the enemy moves. I control if the enemy moves. I control where the enemy attacks. I control if the enemy attacks. It's all me. That's what my job is. When my carries go in, it's my job to get between them and the enemy. And if I can't, to put a wall between them and the enemy when it's time for them to try to escape. Alright. My little dog, whose name is Louie, is going to be co-commentating today. He'd say hi, but he's sleeping. Or at least just laying there, looking at the door to my room. For no reason. There was a little bit of confusion in the early game. I thought we were going to go after this movement speed buff, but Freya wanted help with the attack damage buff, or the red buff, if you will. So, luckily I've got the girdle. You will see my build there. Got a Hand of the Gods and a girdle. I did this so that since it's ranked, somebody's got to have Hand of the Gods. No one else was buying any active abilities. So, someone had to get that early Hand of Gods, and that's me. I also got a girdle because I knew I would be laning with a carry, and girdle on Ymir is strong. I realized that you definitely would rather have beads against, especially an Ares, but not me. I knew that I was going to build pure tank. It's okay if I get pulled in there and the whole enemy team throws everything on me and kills me if my team goes in immediately afterwards and cleans up house. So I get into lane at this point. We're taking a look at what we got to handle here. I take a little bit of that Neith harass. Pretty hard to dodge the Neith harass. I take those chains. I get that stun. Shibalanke coming in there, getting the first blood because the Ares was tanking the enemy minions, and I go back to base. Good Shibalanke, good reaction time, was very good on his part. Shibalanke taking a bit of damage, so is Sobek. I don't see anyone really taking any damage, so we'll just stay with me. I went and leveled up my celerity boots to level 2. Always good to have boots of celerity on a tank that's an initiator like Ymir or Bacchus, so I can reposition myself or run away after a good initiation. Meanwhile, in this lane, Sobek's got the enemy right up against the turret. Arachne waiting on her ultimate probably before she does anything rash. Guan Yu harassing the minions as he should be. Not sure if he was trying to kill an egg or not, but he didn't. Getting pulled here. Ooh boy, that is a dead Arachne. Aegis saving the day for Guan Yu. You see, he popped it there right before he died. Just the right time to hit it. I just died. I think that I ran in again like I did before. The difference is I died. So, that's pretty much what happened. The minions and their damage was a little bit too much, but that's what a tank is supposed to do. It's supposed to go in and And sometimes I die. Neith, gonna maybe fire her ultimate? It doesn't look like it, never mind. Looks like there's a fight going on over here, but quickly dissipated. Looks like Ares died at some point. Oh geez, Neith getting low. Ah, there was a gank from Freya. Freya came in, took out the Ares, and then she's got this Neith pinned underneath the turret. Now here I make a mistake, you'll see. Coming up here, I go and push the lane, like I should, to get the minions up here. It's where we want them, so that she can push the lane. I run up to the minions, but they don't switch targets. They're still hitting Freya, which was a shame. Throw up the wall, throw on the stun, and then I back out. The reason why? There's Ares. Freya didn't see Ares and got mad at me. Rightfully so. I should have went in. I should have dove in spite of myself. And maybe she would have killed the both of them, but her ultimate was down, if you looked in the left-hand side, so I didn't really have a whole lot of faith in the Freya, but I learned later in the game that Freyas you can trust at any point in the game. They're generally quite strong. Just, I didn't want to go in with an Ares there that's level 5. Just didn't seem like a good idea. Speaking of which, I kill Ares, who thought he could harass me with less than half of his HP while I had full HP. So, early game, Ymir, very strong damage. As you could see, I mean, I killed their tank. And he's not building squishy, he's building tank. At least, I hope he is, because I'm building tank, and it sure would be terrible if I was the only tank in this game. But it looks like the Guan Yu also wants to build tanky as well. But Ares, at the same time, getting his Boots of Celerity, needs to run fast. He's an initiator god, so you definitely want him to be able to get in and out of battle. It looks like Arachne's almost getting herself killed here. Speaking of people almost getting themselves killed, quick gank here on the Freya, but not ending well for that Wukong. That's a shame. Left tower getting under attack because no one in left lane is staying there. The Arachne on my team was a little bit of a pain to deal with. There's a fight going on over here. I was able to save the Xbalanque by getting the focus put on me, and now I'm just going to run out here. They're going to hit me with a few abilities, but nothing that can kill me. Xbalanque going back to base. And that's about it. I'm stuck there trying to keep it going. Now Arachne claims that she ulted him, and she didn't. There's the ult. The ult was on the Neith. And Arachne spent a lot of the game complaining. Not gonna lie. There was a lot of complaining coming out of this Arachne. In fact, to the point where I recommend that you just, if you see this player on your team, just mute them if you haven't already. Because they're going to spend a lot of the game complaining about trivial things, complaining about deaths that are caused by the Arachne's inability to use her skills very well. The Arachne didn't have a very easy time landing those pulls. She hit a couple early game and it just kind of fell off because of how frustrated she got and how quickly she got frustrated. As you can see, pretty low scoring game at this point. I mean, we're about level 10 everywhere. We're getting ready for that level 10 benchmark. But Freya, definitely the most dangerous on our team. But I'm trying to get our Xbalanque fed to make him a happy boy. At this point in the game, I've got my magical and physical defense items started here, while the Ares, when he's against a Xbalanque, has decided to go for magic damage, where I'm not really the damage in question here. So we got ourselves a dead Arachne here. I don't think she's going to survive this attack. She does have a lot of regen. She does have a lot of lifesteal. She has her little spiders, but I don't think she's gonna kill this Guan. Oh, where's that dash? Oh, he's got his heal up, and oh, she got him anyway. But it looks like the Wukong was able to get away. Meanwhile, in mid, Oh shit, there's a fight going on in my lane. Ares goes down, and we're getting ready to posture ourselves for the kill on Neith, but Neith is just going to be very defensive. Meanwhile, in mid, there's another fight. They're pretty back and forth here. There was a very back and forth lane. You can see here I'm throwing some mana to harass, and I back out because I don't want to fight her underneath the turret. We don't really have the damage to kill her in 2 or 3 hits. And I was waiting for the minions to go in. So here I go underneath the turret. I wanted to try to use an ability or two. I have her missing all of her auto attacks on me, which was nice. You do want to try to dodge ranged physical, and even mage auto attacks. You want to try to dodge those, especially when you're a tank and you're underneath the turret. Just dodge them. Try to get out of the way. Looks like Wukong is going through the jungle here, getting some buffs. Wukong really likes buffs. Ao Kuang getting pinned underneath his turret while there's an Arachne nearby. Let's take a look at what's going to happen here. Doesn't look like much is going to happen. Arachne is not as sneaky as she thinks she is, and then she runs right into a fucking tornado. After it was placed. It's not like he placed it right on top of her and then she had no choice. That Arachne not playing as well as I want them to. Meanwhile, left lane, although he's Sobek and he's all on his own, he's doing just fine. He's not getting kills, but he's not letting them kill the turret either. So he's doing a very good job of defending the lane. So here we're playing extra aggressive against these two. We know that they are going to have a hard time against us. Xbalanque has a couple kills at this point. He's got 3. I was able to help him get at least 2 of those kills. And he's pretty happy because of that. So here, I go underneath the turret, and I'm like, I'm going to be fine. Xbalanque uses his ult to stop them from killing me. But I go down anyway. And Xbalanque says, I can kill her, and he does. That DOT with his poison darts, it's just too much for squishies. And although I went down, it wasn't so bad. Ao Kuang at the same time probably getting ult killed by Freya. Freya's ultimate is devastating. Devastating against a majority of opponents. Now, if you get a DOT on her before she uses her ult, it will continue to hit her while she's in the air. So you can kill her after she ults. So here Arachne shows that she can land a pull when the enemy doesn't dodge. That was a good Aegis, but the minions there are the reason why she died. And Sobek couldn't really pop that early because it wouldn't have killed the minions if he popped it early. So she got mad at Sobek there and said, Sobek can't Sobek. But the Sobek was very good at knowing his role. And you know what? Even if he wasn't as skilled of a player as I think he is, I think that his game sense and his knowledge of, hey, I'm someone who can save and I'm going to initiate as well next to the Ymir. And he knew that and he did that. Here we have a bit of a fight going on between Guan and Sobek, but not much is going to come of it. Meanwhile, in mid lane, Freya waiting on that cooldown for her ultimate, no doubt about it. Looks like there might be a gank coming over in my lane, so I'll keep my mouse over that. Guan doing okay. Whoa, big fights here. We've got Xbalanque just showing the immense power of his auto attacks. And I hit them with some of my damage. I throw the girdle down, letting the Xbalanque get his damage up to as high as he can. Uses his dash to get away. And lives to fight another day. Great shot, who I believe is on our team. Yep, he got a creeping curse. Definitely going a more supporty tank. Meanwhile, in mid lane, Ao Kuang wishing that there wasn't a spider in the lane. Wishing that Freya's ultimate was on cooldown, and it's not. Here comes Neith. Neith trying to initiate with some CC, but misses it horribly because Freya just decides to change direction last minute like a butthead. Speaking of buttheads, this Guan was a very skilled player, and he was a bit of a butthead because of how hard he was to kill. Just thought I'd give this Guan credit where credit is due. So, Ymir has 4 abilities, like every other god in the game. His passive synergizes with his abilities in a sense that if I use a damaging ability on you, you take bonus damage from my auto attacks. So when I use my 2 on you, I do extra damage. When I use my 3 on you, I do bonus damage when I auto attack. So what the general thing you want to do is you use a 2, you use your 3 on the enemy, and then auto attack. So we've got a big initiation going on here, and I'm gonna chunk this Ares while Freya takes out the Neath, and Xbalanque finishes off the Ares. Xbalanque doing very well this game with a huge amount of kills, as you can see, 5. He's rocking this game, doing very well. We're having great trades here. 1 for 3, I think, is a very good trade. The Arachne who died, it didn't like the trade, but if Arachne could play better and built better, maybe she wouldn't have died as often. Big problem with her build I see right away is the Soul Eater lifesteal and damage just isn't going to be enough for her to carry. She's going to need those Devour gloves as soon as possible, and she's just not buying them. However, as you can see on the map, we went after the objective, a Gold Fury over there. That's that little camp that I just looked at for a millisecond. Let's fly on over. But there are 2 big objective things you can kill. The Gold Fury, and then across the way is the Fire Giant. The Gold Fury gives your whole team a nice little boost in gold, and the Fire Giant helps you with everything else. It pretty much makes your team, even if you're a little bit behind, sometimes you can get ahead, and if you are ahead before you get that buff, by the time you have that buff, you're a happy boy. Lots of CC going down on that Arachne, who has no answer to it. Ooh, nice attempt for the kill there by Freya, but not gonna end up with a kill. Guan Yu getting a little bit out of position because of that Xbalanque ult, and it's greatly timed. He didn't know where his team was, and so he went in thinking that the team was interested in initiating. Neath, hoping to maybe harass, gets banished and then knocked up there, and I just stay by for the assist. I didn't wanna accidentally steal it. She was too far for a good stun, and the Freya just didn't need it, so I didn't go in there. So here, Sobek and I come in and fight this Ao Kuang, but I run out of HP and I run out of mana. However, Sobek feels the need to continue the fight. I think that he just, if it was me, I probably would have gotten this kill. But the reason why he didn't get that kill, for anyone who's interested in maybe playing Sobek in a future game, is that he didn't use his tail whip quickly. So when he did that second pull, he didn't have the tail whip to last hit. So you either save the tail whip or spam that tail whip. Hit them with the tail whip first even, and then pull them if you want. That's what I do sometimes when I really want to last hit someone. I tail whip them and then pull them. Wow. Our Xbalanque is huge right now. He's big as hell. And the more kills he gets, the bigger he becomes. He gets bonus damage from every single kill he attains with his passive there. So feeding a Xbalanque is not fun. Holy cow, Freya. Holy cow, Freya. Freya 2 to 3 shotting the enemies. I think that she can 4-shot this Ao Kuang at full health at this point, just based on how much she's chunking the Neath, who's very behind. She's still level 11. Even I'm ahead of her, and I'm going more support. And the really bad Arachne's ahead of her at level 13. Needless to say, Xbalanque is quite ahead of her at level 15. And he just absolutely chunks her with his auto attacks. He hurts. And he has great harass. And this Guan Yu is not going to have much to answer this push here. Meanwhile, in mid lane, I'm going back and forth with Ao Kuang. I'm tanking some of his abilities because I'm a tank. And I'm going to head over to right lane, because I noticed Freya was heading over there. And when you're a tank, you do the following. You stay with your carries. Now here, I thought maybe he was interested in going in on them, but he wasn't. So I started tanking and I used my ult. They all run out. And then I run away. So I'm gonna die here because of all that CC. Xbalanque can't really do anything to save me. But I was absolutely sure he wanted to do something, but I guess it was just mostly his mana that made him not want to go in. But when you're a ranged carry that's AD, you have this thing called an auto attack. And when you auto attack, it does this thing called damage to mostly enemy gods, not really friendly gods. Good dodge by the Neath there. You saw she dodged the Sobek ultimate, but she can't dodge the Freya ult. Freya taking her out with that lovely ultimate of hers, getting the last hit in that she wanted to get the kill. And holy cow, look at how she is chunking that Ares. Her build right now, this Freya, is huge. Look at the build. She's got a Death Toll, giving her a little bit extra mana, a little bit extra health for every single attack, right? Doesn't end there. You got the Vampiric Shroud. You get 10 health and mana for every single last hit you get on minions or players. Then she's got the regular Boots of the Magi you'll see on every Freya. A Demonic Grip, which will lower the magical protection of an enemy by up to 21%, and an Executioner, 21% physical protection. Now, Freya does both types of damage, whether you build her magical or physical. So the fact that she's trying to double penetrate your defenses, this can go very well for her when it comes to doing damage. Sadly, the two of them couldn't do much against the three of these guys. Lots of burst damage, lots of no fun to be had, because of that lovely combination of ultimates and just flat out burst. The Wukong burst is nothing to be scoffed at. It is a very powerful thing, and even if he's behind, he is dangerous. That overhead smash does a big chunk of your HP, especially when he's ahead. So we get an initiation here by the Arachne. Now here I tried to save her by throwing up a wall to push her away from the enemy. Instead, Arachne jumps on the back of an enemy and now tries to run away. Xbalanque finishes off the Ares here, so we're 1 for 1. Now we're 2 for 1, and I don't like that. So what do? What do you do when you're Ymir and you're 2 for 1? You make it 2 for 2, and that's what you want to do. But sadly, it was 3 for 2. So I get out of there. That wall, way too powerful, making the enemy move way too slowly. And here, Sobek, you see that pull? That pull was the pull right there. If he didn't make that pull, if he pulled him and threw him towards me, I would have died. Nope, no doubt about it. I would not have survived if Sobek did not do that pull. If you get saved by a teammate, you make sure that you tell them that you appreciate what they did and that you know what they did. And just commend them and make them feel good about what they did, so that maybe they'll do it for someone else even if they don't deserve it, just because they know that somebody out there saw it and appreciated it, and a good player will see good play and reward it with the praise and just recognition of what happened. Here, Sobek kind of getting caught, but not really, because he's mostly what looks like harassing them. So Ares, not exactly doing the smartest thing, initiating on the two tankiest gods on our team. So I'm gonna throw my ult down to harass the enemy. The enemy doesn't have any real desire to fight, so they slow me. I'm gonna wait for the slow to dissipate and want to throw up a wall, and they can't chase anymore. They can't kill me. I'm basically taking no damage from that, and while we were fighting them, you'll notice on the map, our two carries, well, 2 of our 3 carries, were going after that Gold Fury. So we got another Gold Fury while the enemy was doing nothing against us, because they didn't get any kills. They have nothing to show for it. But then, Arachne getting caught out here. Sadly, Xbalanque falling off a bit here while Wukong is getting bigger and bigger. But I don't think he's going to get to a point that he'll be too much for us to handle, especially since he got this. He got a Jotun's Wrath. I don't know why he would get Jotun's Wrath. I would probably sell that at this point. That item is not going to help you. Although, yes, Wukong is very mana dependent. Yes, getting some extra mana is not a bad idea. You probably would have been better off getting a tank item like a Skin of Leviathan. Or, well, not really skin, it's the hide of Leviathan. Or something like that that gives you some mana and some health at the same time, as making you a little bit tankier. Jotun's Wrath doesn't really do much for you. While it helps you with cooldowns and it gives you an extra 150 mana, it's much more dangerous to have a Wukong that can't be CC'd as much or for as long. If you get him that Hide of Leviathan, he also gets 100 extra mana and 250 HP. So I don't necessarily agree with it. Plus, he doesn't need physical protection against this team. A majority of our damage is quite literally this Freya. She is chunking all of them, because if you look at their builds, they're going anti-physical on all these tanks, except for the Ares, who's going aura items. That's what you should do on Ares. When you build aura items on Ares, he gets 30 ability power for every single finished aura item on him. So, my 2 has a little area path in front of me that hurts people. My 3 is a stun. That is a cone effect in front of me, so I can effectively stun an entire enemy team if they're too close together. My 1 is that wall that I throw up every now and then to get away. There's an ult from Ao Kuang, maybe was hoping to kill somebody with it, but that just didn't happen. Sobek initiating here. I throw down a stun, but it doesn't hit anybody for some reason. Ares getting initiated on, I throw down my ult and kill him because I noticed that he ulted, so we had to kill him immediately. Because if he popped that early, it would have been pretty bad for our team. That hit most of us, so that would have been pretty bad. Just the damage from it would have been bad. So here I try to intimidate the Guan Yu away from our Arachne, and I get in the way of the auto attack coming out of that Neath. And Guan Yu gets taken out there. There wasn't really much he could do because of where he was standing, and he was just caught in the middle of us. Freya really wanting to kill on that Neath, but couldn't quite get close enough. If Freya had Sprint, or any active abilities for that matter, probably would have gotten that kill. But Freya did not buy any active items, which, when you're ahead like that, it's pretty easy to do that, just because you're so focused on building and finishing your build, and you're like, oh my god, we're so far ahead, I'm doing so much damage, I gotta build more damage, I gotta get more items, so let me just finish this Polynomicon, then I'll get an item, and then it's like, well, what if I sell my Vampiric Shroud and get something else? Now, I don't understand why she got a Bancroft's Talon. She's not being focused. The enemy team isn't really able to do much against her, unless they all gangbang her like they did in mid there, 3v1. But while they were doing that, we got the Fire Giant, so we won out in that exchange. While Freya is very squishy, you're not going to be running around with low HP, you know? A Bancroft's Talon is for someone like Anubis, who has a hard time getting away from the fight and is very easy to focus if they can break through the front line. Or if, you know, you're stupid and you run up in front and end up getting focused because of that. That being said, if you want to be an effective mage carry especially, but even an AD carry that's ranged, especially with ranged AD carries, there are no tanky ranged AD carries, you have to stay in the back lines. The front lines are reserved for tanks and tanky gods. Supports stay in the back line. Ranged carries stay in the back line. Mage carries stay in the back line. Don't go to the front. If you go to the front, you will die. So we got some towers going down here. I'm not worried about it. At this point, the red team has a hard time. They have an uphill battle that they need to fight. And at this rate, I don't think that they're going to win it. Wukong getting out of there just in time. I can count on every single appendage on my body how many times that's happened for me. And every single time it happens, it feels just as satisfying as the last time. So here, it looks like we're going to be watching one of the final fights in the entire game. Looks like we're setting up our positioning here. We're getting ready to group up. We're getting ready to push right lane. Red team is splitting all apart. Wukong is going to split push, but a big problem with having a big carry like Wukong split pushing is you've lost some big damage for your team. Neith is behind. She should be split pushing. She should be trying to farm a lane. Even Ares trying to farm wouldn't be too bad. I mean, Guan Yu can easily replace him in an initiation standpoint, and he's level 13, so how is he going to help in a team fight anyway? So they've lost this Wukong, and the four of us are descending on this Phoenix here. We are just ready to go in and fight. And the initiation starts here. We get a banish coming from the Freya. Oh my god, Neith just getting melted, almost immediately falling down, and she goes out pretty quickly to one of the Freya ultimate pops, as I call them, where she pops you, and then you die, and the enemy team surrenders. They gave up. I don't blame them. The game was pretty much lost. Wukong wasn't going to be base racing us. You could see that Arachne showed up there and tried to fight him. He probably could have killed her if he turned and fought. This was my first ranked game of the day, and I got a win, and I was really happy and pleased with how I played. I think I did okay. I made one pretty major mistake, but I think as a whole, I was doing all right. The major mistake I did was not getting Freya that kill underneath that turret. Then I did a bad initiation thinking that Xbalanque wanted to go in for the kill, but other than that, I think my build was pretty good. You can see there I went all out tank with more health, more health, more health, more protection, more effective HP, just stacking it on to the point where I was one of the very difficult gods to kill in the game. I started with a Hand of the Gods so we could quickly get those buffs. I got a Hand of the Gods because Ymir is very slow at pushing lanes, and whenever I needed to defend a lane, I could just run in, use my Hand of the Gods, and get out. And that turned out to be pretty good because I never had to stay out of a fight for a very long time. Arachne went sprint so that she could get around the map faster in an Aegis. Pretty standard. Sobek, I'll never agree with getting Meditate on Sobek. Yes, Sobek is mana dependent, but look at your build. You're not building any mana, that's why you don't have any mana. Get a mana item. Look at how I built me. If you want to go Sobek, you can't get Meditate. It's not going to help you. Meditate is a very bad ability late game, especially against a team that's winning. If you are behind, do not get Meditate. If you're ahead, okay, fine, maybe. But when you're Sobek, you're not going to be able to do much with Meditate anyway. Your abilities take up a majority of your mana, and getting one more combo isn't going to really help you too much as Sobek. You should always have enough for at least 4 of your abilities. So 2 pulls, 2 tail whips, and that's usually enough to kill someone when they're low. And then you ult them to finish them off after you've comboed them. And then after your ult goes off, you hit them with a pull and a tail whip. If they're still alive, then that'll usually kill them. Meditation isn't going to win you a game. If you look at the Sobek score, it more than shows it. Look at everyone who got meditation in this game and look at their scores. What do they all have in common? They all went negative. The reason why is because that's not an offensive skill, it's a defensive skill. That's a skill that you use when you can't go back. Not when you don't go back, when you can't go back. And when you can't go back in something like Arena, something like Domination, suddenly the active ability Meditation, not a bad idea. If you're in assault mode, Meditation is almost needed because you have to stay out. You can't go back unless you die. So, always remember that if you are committing to getting Meditation as one of your active abilities, you're missing out on something that could really help you out with getting kills instead. While Meditation might be able to save your life in some places, getting kills is what wins the game. And at the same time, staying alive is a good thing, but killing someone before they kill you will also save your life, much better than Meditation is gonna do. It doesn't help you run any faster, it doesn't give you any kind of defense, doesn't give you any kind of attacks. So there's really no reason to get it in Conquest. I've never seen that many gods that greatly benefit from Meditation. And I very rarely see it at the competitive level. And when I do see it, it's usually because they're ahead and he wants to not have to go back and wants to just farm all day. Usually I see it on Curse, because Curse is all about the farm. If you see any of their teams, their League of Legends team is the same way. They believe in last hitting over everything else. And in this game, it's no different. They want to farm up, and then they want to fight. They want to farm up at the same time. And that's usually how they get ahead. Because even though they might be losing fights, they keep up in levels and sometimes surpass you in levels. And they have that gold advantage, and it's very difficult to get a gold advantage over them because they're farming, and they're last hitting, and they're going into the camps, and they're getting the buffs whenever they can. They know all the timers. They're heading into jungle whenever it's the right time. And they're winning the fights for the most part in the late game. Sometimes their early game is weak, but if they get ahead, they stay ahead. And their lead can get ridiculous because of how much they farm. So remember that. If you're ahead and you don't want to go back and you rely on your abilities to kill minions, fine. Meditation. If you're behind, I should not see meditation on your team. I should really not see people who aren't buying any active items, especially when they're the most farmed on their team. I mean, look, he's got 11,000 gold, this Wukong. Can't afford one active ability? I don't know about that. We had wards on our team, which was nice. The enemy got wards a lot more and a lot quicker than we did, but we didn't really need them. We had map control just because of our insane presence when it came to fights. We had a great team comp. We had basically the ability to focus down anyone we wanted, and the enemy team had no way to stop that from happening because they just didn't have somebody that can control us. They probably wanted the Ares to do that, but look at him, he's level 13. So, that being said, always have the wherewithal to know when there are people missing on the map. Don't rely on your teammates to call the MIAs. Take a look at the map every now and then, and you won't get ganked as often. Our Freya probably wouldn't have dove that if she saw that the Ares was there, and sometimes you should just dive anyway. I feel like if I dove there, it wouldn't have been too bad. But because I didn't, it ended up being a one-for-none trade. But didn't really seem to affect the Freya too much. She only died 3 times. I only died 3 times. She got 15 fucking kills. Our Arachne died 7 times. But it was a fun game. It was a good game. And I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed playing.